Hello, this is David for Cloud Marathon Launch and Learn, and I will be talking to you about Edge and Kubernetes tip and tricks to make it work. So just before getting started, uh, presentation of the agent of myself first. So as I said, my name is David. I've been working in IT since quite a long time. Mm, I'm currently working mainly on Azure and specifically on Kubernetes. In Azure, I breathe infrastructure as code and automation because as all the ops around, I don't like to do stuff more than once. So if I can automate, I do that. I'm still struggling with Kubernetes stuff, which is also why I want to share with you my experience specifically on this topic today. And as you may have guessed, I'm a huge fan of Final Fantasy. Okay, so without add-ons, let's go to the agenda. So we will have three parts. First part will be a concept review with all of what we talk about, meaning networking stuff with Kubernetes, and then what is AGIC. Then we will see two ways of deploying application gateway as an ingress controller. One with the add-on, and the second one with all the open source and community tools that you may have in your area, which are AGIC, mchart, and all the related dependencies, which are the mainly open source project. Okay, let's get started now. So the concept review first. About the concept review, let me just move that. Okay. So when talking about Kubernetes, you probably know that we have two choices for the networking configuration. We have first Azure CNI, CNI standing for Container Network Interface, and Kubernetes. So CNI is not specifically something from Azure. This is the main name for all the network interface for Kubernetes, and the one in Azure is called Azure CNI. The second one is called Kubernetes, available for AKS. This is not specifically related to AKS, but well, in my experience, I've seen this one only in Azure, and we'll see the difference now. Obviously, Azure CNI is the more rich in terms of integration with the Azure Virtual Network. It comes with more feature, and it also comes with a specificities, which is that everything is consuming IP from the VNet range nodes, which is logical, but also pods, which could cause problem. On the other hand, we have Kubernetes, which is less integrated, obviously, because it is not developed specifically by Microsoft. And in this one, only nodes consume IP from the VNet range, which can be nice. Let's develop a little that. Okay. On the left, we have Kubernetes. On the right, we have Azure CNI. So, as you can see, there is something different between the two. Kubernetes is acting as a kind of NAT between the pod IP range and the virtual network. On the other end, there is no similarity between with Azure CNI. This is a bridge, which is what I explained earlier. We are consuming IP address in the VNet range only for Azure CNI, while on the other end in the Kubernetes, we have a range on the virtual network. In this example, /24 for the node subnet, and the range for the pod is another one, which can be fine because in this case we will not be limited by the /24 for the node subnet, which is only 256 IP address, but it can be not enough when considering pods and Kubernetes stuff. Okay, when creating a cluster in the GUI on the portal, if you use, you can choose between Kubernetes and Azure CNI, and if you choose Kubernetes, you don't have that much choice. And as a matter of fact, you cannot choose a specific virtual network. It will create a virtual network in the console, and then you have few other options. One being using network policy, which we should do, but as you can see, the only choice is to use Calico network policy. So I will not discuss too much about that today. This is another topic, but keep that in mind. On the other hand, when we use Azure CNI, it used to be called Advanced Network Configuration, and as the name could imply, it allows us to have more configuration. First, we can choose the virtual network. We don't necessarily have to create a new virtual network. It can be an existing one with the portal, and then we can configure a few other stuff such as the Kubernetes cluster subnet, the Kubernetes services address range, and also the DNS service IP. The Docker bridge address can also be configured on this portal, while as you can see, this is absolutely not the case with Azure with Kubernetes. Well, that being said, who does that in the portal anyway? So if we now focus on the differences, the specificities of Kubernetes and why it could be a good choice. Since there is an isolation of the pod addressing from the VNet, it avoids claiming huge ranges in your infamous RFC 1918, which are the 10.0.0/8 and 172.16.00/12, and then 192.168.00/16. Those are the private range, and you have to consume that when you create a virtual network. If you use Kubernetes, you can decide to use a more limited range because it won't be the same address space for the pods. There are some limitations also. It's only working with Linux node, at least for now, because this is based on Linux configuration specificity. And also, due to this isolation, we need to use a user-defined route. And something that is quite important, as a matter of fact, and that is not always understood by everyone. There are, however, even if you are isolating your range between the virtual network and the pods do have their own private range, and you don't have that much choice. This is a big range that you must choose, and there are some other that you need to take also into consideration. Let's get into the details. So, once you have created your Kubernetes cluster with Kubernetes, you will get a specific user-defined route on the subnet hosting the node pools. Also, you will consume at least two, let's say 2.5, 2.5/16 ranges, and which are the service CIDR. As you can see, by default, it will be 10.0.0/16, and the pod CIDR, it will be 10.244.0.0/16. This makes quite a lot of /16 range, so keep that in mind. Also, we have the Docker bridge address, which is called Docker bridge address, and as you can see, this is 172.17.0.1/16, but it should be one address since it is 0.1, but it is also /16, so well, I'm not sure about why it's written like that. Just keep in mind, if you want to be secure and avoid afterward routing issue for a pod trying to reach something outside of Kubernetes, you should not use the three ranges which are displayed on this table anywhere else in your private network, meaning everything that is connecting through peering and or through VPN and ExpressRoute to your virtual network. If you do have other range used which are similar, it won't cause any issue of overlapping because since there is an isolation, the pod don't know that, well, Kubernetes doesn't know that there is an overlap between its own pod IP range and the rest of the world, but a pod trying to reach something in the same range as itself will fail anyway. So as you can imagine, okay. Other limitation, due to the limitation of the user-defined route, you can have only 400 nodes on the Kubernetes AKS cluster. I don't think that's a limitation currently because, well, it is quite big, but it should be kept in mind anyway. Okay, that's it for the specificities of Kubernetes. So we have the very, very important point is the user-defined route, which impact the routing. Okay, we will see about that, why it's important later. Now let's spend a little time on AGIC. So the too long didn't read the description. So AGIC stands for Application Gateway as an Ingress Controller. So as you can see on the left side of this slide, we have a little schema. We can see that the Application Gateway is used as an Ingress Controller for the pod which are using Ingress object. The main advantage of that is that we are decorrelating the application gateway, well, not the application gateway, but the Ingress controller under hood stuff from the Kubernetes cluster. It lives in the Azure control plane as an application gateway, which can be nice for example, the fact that the logs will be outside of the Kubernetes cluster, for example, and by default we can configure application gateway as a WAF load balancer, so we can protect ingress object with the application gateway security feature, which is very nice. Okay, let's get going now. We also have two flavors currently of using AGIC. One is an add-on. An add-on in AKS being just something that you configure with an AZ-click command line, and the other one, the first one available, as a matter of fact, was an open source project which can be deployed with all the tool that you have to that you are used to use, such as Helm or well, mainly Helm anyway. The add-on is quite simple to use. This is just an AZ-click command, and since it is an add-on, we have support from Microsoft, and also an important point is that it's GA since I think February, so it means that there is indeed support. Before that, it was in preview. The open source project is still the same feature, except that it's not managed automatically by Microsoft. But I guess that all the new features are coming first in the open source project and are then added in the add-on. The difference between the two is that the add-on is updated automatically by Microsoft, while the open source project, obviously you need to do that yourself. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look on the deployment with the simplest way, which is the add-on. Okay, so this is one command. Okay, you need to have an application gateway and get its ID. You need also to have an AKS cluster and also have its ID and the resource group which contain the AKS cluster. And then you only use this command. This is something that I took from the documentation. You just have to specify in a variable the application gateway ID, and then you can just use the AKS AKS command with an enable add-on and specifying the name of the add-on, which is AKS AGIC, and then the name of your resource group, which is, well, in this example, RSG AGIC meetup, and then specifying that we will use the add-on ingress app gateway. So sorry, the N was standing for the name of the Kubernetes cluster. And then we specify the ID, which is what we took as a variable earlier. As you can see, this is an extract of what happens when you do that in the command line. You will get some output in your console, and the first line being an Azure Active Directory role propagation, which is nice because I will explain you a few stuff afterward. And then we also have a few other things that are displayed there. The Ingress Application Gateway, we do have a few output which are interesting, such as the application gateway ID that should correspond to the one you specified in your configuration, and also manage identity information, because it will use a manage identity afterward. So afterward you get, as I said, a new manage identity, and this identity is also in the Azure ID role propagation added to other as a contributor to the appropriate resources. We will see that in detail afterward. So what I propose, let's get on my cluster. So as you can see, my cluster, I have something like that. This is one example. As you can see, this Kubernetes cluster is in version 1.19.9. Let's go to the properties over there, so we can reach the backend resource group. And as you can see, currently I don't have, as in my example, manage identity with the name of AGIC. Okay, so as I mentioned, I do have also an application gateway, okay, which is here. And what I will do now is install the application gateway add-on. So we'll do that this way. As you can see here, I have a Terraform configuration which use a null resource to apply the local exec with a zclick command. So I'm adding the enable add-on with the benefit of Terraform, which allows me to interpolate the name of my cluster and the resource group of the cluster, and also the application gateway ID. Okay, that's why I'm doing that with Terraform, because, well, as I said in my presentation, I kind of brace that, and also there is one advantage here. I can interpolate the output of my other resources, and by adding just a few dependencies, I'm sure that it will be added only after the application gateway and the AKS cluster are provisioned. In this specific case, I commented that beforehand. So now let's just do the installation by applying my configuration. So let's go in this folder. Let's do a plan just to be verified what we have to install. And it can take some time, as you can see. Okay, so it's refreshing all the stuff that are already existing. And as you can see, it wants to add some stuff, but specifically the null resource that I want to add. Okay, so I will cheat for this one and use Terraform apply with a target switch, so that I am only adding the add-on for my application gateway ingress controller. So let's do that. Not 2 times, it won't work if I do that 2 times. Okay. Usually we would do that in one way, deploying the Kubernetes cluster and all its environment, and then adding the add-on automatically. But since I didn't want to wait the 10 or 15 minutes to deploy the Kubernetes cluster, I prepared beforehand the Kubernetes cluster, and now I'm only showing you the add-on installation. So let's just write yes, and if I'm lucky and I don't have any demo effect, it should be working. As you can see, the output are suppressed because there are some specific output, and I do have an error, which is fine because resource group could not be found. Okay, why is that? So I do have an error, so let me fix that. Okay, I found my error. As you can see, I'm trying to deploy in this subscription 16 something, and I was not in the appropriate subscription. This is a very important point if you need to use local exec with AZCLI, specifically when you're deploying in Terraform with Azure. You may have error if you are not using the appropriate subscription. So let's do that. AZ account list. First this my available subscription. As you can see, I do have some of them available, so let's select the appropriate one. Okay. Okay, let's start again my apply, and it should work, hopefully. Okay, let's do yes. You can see that it's destroying the add-on. It's not destroying the add-on, but the null resource. This is a property of the null resource. If it's failed, the null resource is in Terraform is labeled as tainted, and it will be destroyed the next apply to be recreated. Okay, so that's what we can see here. So it's creating my add-on. I will have no output because it's considered as sensitive, but at the end I should have my add-on available, and I will check that on the portal because I will have a new managed identity, and I should be able to get also the available add-on by using an AZCLI command. Okay. While it's deploying, let's wait a little. It does not take that much time usually. Let's navigate in our cluster and check in the property the backend resource group. Let's check the state of the deployment. Okay. Let's go over there. As you can see, we already have a new managed identity, which means that it's working fine. And then we should get something similar to what we had earlier. So this is the very simple way of deploying application gateway file IAGIC. We'll check on the application gateway the role that are inherited from the application. So you can see that I have the managed identity that I used, which is applied assigned the contributor role on the resource group hosting the application gateway, which is nice. It means that the configuration is working, and well, that's pretty much everything. Let's check that, and you can see that I have my deployment which is completed, which is nice. This is what I wanted to have. Okay, so now let's clear it this thing. if I'm doing an AZ AKS list, should have two because I have another one ready for the next part. If I'm doing an AZ AKS show specifying this name it's resource group and I don't need to specify anything. Let's display that. It will give me a big JSON. We'll just parse that rapidly just to get the hidden profile. So I will do the same command, but this time adding a query hidden profile, and I can get my hidden profile, and I just want the application gateway, which should be somewhere over there. Okay, hidden profile Azure policy. This is the one I wanted. Okay, so let's do this one. Let me clear that. And the important point here is the identity, which is here. That's something that we get over there. The information on the identity. Okay, the application gateway ID, and that's pretty much for this configuration. So now, before trying some application gateway ingress object, and we will do some basic stuff because it could be we could do, as a matter of fact, a deep dive on ingress object with application gateway, but well, another time. Let's go on with the next possibility for application gateway as an ingress controller. Okay, so the next way is to use to do it as I like to call it the control freak way, because I want to control everything. So I will use Helm charts and deploy Agik as an open source project. But Agik as an open source project has some dependencies. One being pod identity. Well, not necessarily, but we'll take that hypothesis at least. Okay, let's switch to the next slide. So to install that with the to install the open source project, the best way is to start by reading the documentation, obviously, and I'm specifying here the documentation on GitHub and not necessarily the one on the Azure documentation, because it is less specific than the one on the GitHub project, obviously. So the link is here. The steps, because we do have some steps. We need to set up pod identity. I will explain why afterward. And we also need to deploy Agik with both with Helm chart. Okay. We also have specific configuration to do, because as you may have noticed, I tried to show you that earlier. There was some airbag assignment. This is the AAD role propagation that I showed you in the command line. And we also have a UDR, which is required on the subnet and of the application gateway. I didn't show you that, as a matter of fact. So before doing that, let me switch back to my Azure console and show you that. So this is my first configuration. As you can see here, I do have a virtual network with subnet. So the subnet which contain my which host my node pool is this one, and as you can see, it does have a specific route. Oh, let's switch back to the Kubernetes cluster and switch back again in the properties in the backend. Okay, so in the backend resource groups, you can see that I do have a route table, which, as I mentioned in the network definition, is automatically created by the AKS system at the deployment. Okay, and this route is used so that the node are indicated as the next hop for everything that needs to reach the pod. Okay, and as you can see here, the two subnets on which it is applied is first the subnet used for my by my node pool, and also the application gateway subnet, and that was done automatically at the add-on installation. Okay, it was not done first. Okay, let's switch back to our slide. So, as I mentioned now, to do the manual installation, as I want to call it, or the control frequency, I will need to install two things in my Kubernetes cluster with Helm chart, and also some prerequisite of configuration, which are RBAC assignment and user-defined route configuration. So I will do that with some different tool. So let's get into the details. So since RBAC assignment and UDR configuration are only Azure resource, and since I'm deploying everything with Terraform, I can do that with Terraform. It works fine for me. There are, however, a few specificities to consider. I will need to do an RBAC assignment on the managed identity that I will use for my AGIC deployment that will be also associated to the pod corresponding to my AGIC through pod identity. So I don't want to go into too much detail with pod identity today. This is not the topic today, but to simplify, pod identity is another open source project which allows me to associate Azure AD managed identity to pods, and AGIC being an association of pod and application gateway require to work correctly to have pod identity and an assigned managed identity to the corresponding pod. Okay, so I need to create a managed identity, but I did that in my configuration, and I need to assign this identity to my AGIC deployment, and that I will show you with the end configuration. Then we do have also UDR configuration and associate an application the root with the root table with the application gateway subnet, and that can be done quite easily. I will show you also. Okay, so to do the user assigned identity, well, this is a simple Azure resource, so this is quite easy to do. So I did write a module to do that, which is available on my GitHub repository, and you can see the link on the screen. I'm also doing other thing on this module. Since pod identity is using custom resource definition, and those custom resource definition are using YAML manifest. Sorry, I wrote this module with in mind that I would need to create the YAML manifest. So if you're interested in that, you can check my module on my GitHub repository. But for our configuration, it won't be needed, and I will explain you afterward. Then I have the association of the root table from the Kubernetes cluster with the application gateway subnet, and this one I'm using a little trick here. Well, I'm doing that in two times, as a matter of fact, but I'm referencing the root table through a data source that I get from the data source of the subnet. Since my subnet hosting my node pool is automatically configured by Kubernetes, it will get in its configuration the root table ID, and that's what I'm referencing to do the association. So as you can see on this little resource configuration, the subnet ID is the subnet ID of my application gateway subnet, and the root table ID is the property of my Kubernetes subnet, which contain the root table ID. This is a neat trick using data source that allow me to configure that without having to look for the root table ID. Next, as I mentioned, I'm using Helm, well, through Terraform, but still Helm, to install both pod identity and Edgik. And I also write down on the screen the two links that I used for my documentation. But before going into much detail, let's have a look on the documentation. So as I mentioned, you should refer for application gateway for Edgik to the website documenting that, and you will get the Helm value configuration option, which are then reference when you are using Helm in the YAML file configuration over there, that allows us to specify the reference to the Azure AD identity. Okay, so that's for the details. If we have a look at the configuration, let me reduce my window over there and retake this one. Let's switch on this one. Okay, so you can see here in my Helm release for application gateway, I'm referencing as value a template file that is rendered, and this template file, as a matter of fact, is available here. And as you can see, I'm also leveraging the interpolation of Terraform, so that I get the pod identity and its client ID to put that in my YAML file. Okay, and that allows me to automate completely my deployment. So if I'm switching back to my slide, let's forget for now about the pod identity parameters. I'm still installing the CRD so that I can have the correspondence of the Azure ID managed identity in Kubernetes. But the important point is the configuration of the Edgik. And as I mentioned, this is here the Edgik config file in YAML with the value that I'm interpolating. So I need to specify the subscription ID, the resource group, the Edgik name, and then I'm specifying the authentication with AD pod identity, and then the pod identity ID and the client ID, which are two things that I got as an output earlier. Okay, and I'm also specifying that my cluster is Airbrakenable because, well, I need to do that. Okay, as you can see below, we have the link for the value YAML file template, and then this is a simple template configuration in Terraform to interpolate and build the template that will be used by the Edgik Helm chart. And then I'm using the Edgik Helm chart as I showed you on my screen. So let's try to deploy that if you will. No, I'm not in the appropriate folder, so let's go to the next folder. No, this is 03. And let's do and apply, because as for the other cluster, the cluster is already deployed. Takes some time, don't know why. Okay. It was completed now, but I need to do it again because I canceled without wanting to cancel. And as you can see, it's doing a few things, and I will go into the detail once it's complete. So if I'm going to my configuration, as I mentioned, in the configuration, I have more than one port. I'm creating the user assigned identity, then I'm creating the association, as I mentioned, and then I'm using, well, this one, I don't need to show you this one, and I'm deploying pod identity and Edgik through Helm release. Okay, so it seems that I'm ready. PS, it should not take that much time. And then we will be able to compare the two deployments. And with that, we will have two AGIC deployment, one done by Diadon and one done by the open source stuff that are available well in the open source community. Why is doing that? Let's switch back to our environment and specifically to my dashboard. In resource group, I have two resource group for my environment. The one here, let's reduce that and reduce that again. If I'm going here, because I'm using the default new flavor dashboard, I can see in my workload, I should see in my workload the application gateway deployment. So as you can see here, this one is the one deployed through the add-on, and the pod is living in, well, the deployment, so this is deployment, is living in kube system. Okay. As you can see, it's ready. I have one pod running, perfect. If I'm going now in the second environment, let's reduce that and go over there. Here I should see, well, let's go into the namespace first. As you can see, I have a namespace called AGIC and it's only 35 seconds. And as you can see over there, if I'm going there, I have, no, this is not, sorry, I should go in the workload then. And if I'm specifying the AGIC namespace, as you can see, I have one deployment, the same, except that this one is not exactly the same, doesn't have the same name, okay? Obviously, since I did that myself, I do have the same configuration, except that I did that myself. But if I'm going into the access control, as you can see, I have the UAE AGIC. So this is one that I create. It is not the same name, but it is assigned the same level of authorization because I base myself on that. And if I'm looking also at my network, I do have the same configuration over there with my subnet for application gateway AGW. And as you can see, I have also the root table which is associated. So I'm ISO in terms of deployment. I have the same deployment with the add-on that I have with doing it myself. So I'm pretty happy with that. And now what I can do is try to deploy some things with my AGIC. First, maybe let's check something else. Remember earlier I tried to list my Kubernetes cluster, so let's do that again. And I have two Kubernetes clusters. Okay, perfect. If you remember also earlier, maybe I do have this command still over there. If I did that, the show add-on profile, I did have one add-on profile for the AKS AGIC cluster. What happened if I'm doing that for the AKS with M deployment? I don't have anything because I forgot to change the name of the resource group. I think it's true. And as you can see, I don't get anything for the add-on because I did not install the add-on. Let's remove the ingress and just get all the add-on just to be sure. And if I'm checking over there rapidly, there is Azure policy, there is HTTP application routing, but it's not installed. There is Kube dashboard. There is OMS agent, but nothing else. Okay, so it's not deployed. Okay, perfect. Okay, now that I've showed you everything over there, let's try to deploy some stuff in my environment. Before doing that, I need to log on my Kubernetes cluster. So let's do the AKS AKS get credentials. I need to list my Kubernetes cluster first because I don't know the name by heart. Okay, AKS get credentials and specifying the name. I will get my Kubernetes cluster config file. Now I can use my kubectl get node, for example, just to authenticate. As you can see, since I'm in an Azure AD Kubernetes cluster, I need to authenticate. And it should be working at one point. Okay, I'm connected. It did take some time. Okay, so now let's try to deploy a few applications with application gateway. So there are many things that we can do with application gateway as an ingress controller. What I will do is deploy a simple application with a certificate from my application gateway. So I do have that. If I'm going back again in my Kubernetes cluster environment, I have an application gateway which use, as a matter of fact, a key vault. If I'm correct, so this is not over there. This is this one. I do have a key vault over there, as you can see, and this key vault contains the certificate that I'm using for my environment. So as you can see, I have two self-signed certificates, and I will show you that I'm deploying a few applications with that. So let's check that. I should have a few templates. So over there I have YAML template, as you can see, voting app and guestbook app. Let's check that. So the voting app, what do I have over there? What interests me is if I do have at the end an ingress extension. As you can see, I have an ingress extension, so we'll apply that, and I should have another one maybe. Get boost ingress TLS. So this is only the guestbook, but is there the okay? There is nothing here, so I will at least deploy this one. Right. Obviously. Okay, something is deployed. Let's clear that. Oh, as you can see, there are some change. Seems that my extension is not good anymore. Okay, I will need to update that. If I'm not doing kubectl get ingress, as you can see, I have one ingress object with a public IP address, which is it what I think it is. If everything is working correctly, I should have this IP address which corresponds to my application gateway. So let's switch back over there, in my application gateway, and I guess it's what I wanted to have, 2076 104 109. Let's switch over there. It seems to be correct. So now if I'm trying to reach this host name, because I specified the host name, I will get probably the application through my application gateway. Let's try to do that. Over there. Okay. It takes some time because I was having an issue with my navigator. So as you can see now, I'm trying to reach the host name. Let's accept the exception because this is a self-signed certificate, and as you can see, I do have the infamous cat and dog application with my application gateway. So everything is working fine. I'm very happy about that. In the meantime, let's try to deploy another application. And let's let it work while we are trying to do the same on my other Kubernetes cluster. And so we'll have two applications. Okay. Okay. Let's go clear and just upgrade that. And just do kubectl get ingress. I should have two. Okay. Oh, this one is not correctly configured because I did not specify a name on this one, but I do have two names. If I'm just going in my configuration and checking my application gateway, I should see the backend on my application gateway. Backend pool on this one. As you can see, I do have my two backend pool. Perfect. Okay, since I did not specify on the other one the specific host name, if I'm trying to reach it on this one, I may need to reach it through the public IP. Let's just check that. I'll add this one because I don't know why it's not working tonight. I do have the same message, and this one, this is the guestbook application. Okay, it's working fine. I have two applications with the same IP, with the same public IP, as a matter of fact. Let's try to do that now in a few minutes remaining on the other cluster. So for that, I need to switch on the other cluster. So let's do kubectl config view. As you can see, no, not view, sorry. List context. This is not list, this is get. Okay, let's switch on the other Kubernetes. kubectl config use context and specify my name and connecting again on the Kubernetes cluster because this is still related to Azure ID. kubectl and I forgot. And then okay, let's copy paste that. To specify that. I don't know why it's not working as I said, so let's switch on this one. And selecting that over there. I'm authenticated. Perfect. Okay. So I should get now the list of nodes available. Perfect. This is not exactly the same cluster as you can see. And I just want this time to deploy the application. So I have two. The voting app, this is the same, but the name is a little different for this one. I think I specified lab technews.cloud, while the other one was aks.technews.cloud. Okay, so let's apply this one. Copy pass. kubectl apply. And let's go there. And let's try also the guest app application. I think this one is complete. Okay, this is guestbook lab. Okay, so let's try to apply this one. So I will have two applications. let's get an ingress then. Okay, while it's quite ready, the application has already an IP and public IP address. The other one is not ready now. I might need to wait a little. Let's verify that this public IP is corresponding this time to my other Kubernetes cluster and its application gateway. So switching back over there, I have that here, over there. And as you can see, this time the 51, 105, 238. Let's switch back over there. Seems to be the same. So if I'm going over there, this one, this is this address. Let's try that. Not on this navigator because it doesn't seem to be working tonight. And switching on this one. And let's try to reach this one. We should reach the website that we want in a few minutes. In the meantime, while it's trying to reach that, maybe we need to check that in the backend on the application gateway, the backend are ready. They are not ready yet, so it may take some time. Let's wait that it's ready before trying to reach that. Okay, once we get the two IP address that are associated to our ingress, well, the one IP address of the application gateway, we should be able to reach to see the backend pool configured for the application gateway. Over there, if I'm checking in the backend pool, I should see more than the default address pool. So the first one, I should see IP address in 10.244. If you remember well, it's true. It is the range for Kubernetes. And if I'm checking this one, I have three backend pool, all in the same range. Let's just be sure that we are correct about that. Let's get pods. And if I'm correct, this should be the front. So let's get pods. No. Let's do describe. I should get the IP with the describe, I think. And as you can see, I do have an IP 10.244.119, which is not this one, 10.244.119. So this is the correct backend which is defined on the application gateway. So this is fine. Let's check that we are able to access that. So this is not the one I want to check, but continue. So this is the one. Let's try this one. The only thing that is changing is the little AKS instead of lab. If I'm trying that, trying to reach that, and I have two different. So this is not the same website. As you can see here, I have Voting App Lab, and on the other one, I have Voting App AKS. So I do have two ingress controller deployed in my two different environments. So let's switch back to the slide and conclude now. So once we have configured the application gateway as an ingress controller, we are able to deploy ingress object. I deployed two different examples, but each time with a certificate which was already installed on the application gateway. There are other solutions. You may not have seen that because I kind of used the magic of the video pre-recorded, but it takes some time before the ingress object is available on your application gateway. It can be between few minutes to 10 minutes sometimes. But you get that. It's working. You have ingress controller and you can then access the log. So if I want to conclude, well, I could say that there are some moving parts, as you can see in the configuration. the way to go should be the add-on, but if you want to check other things that are may not be available in the feature as the add-on, well, referring to the documentation is a good point. Okay, and that's it for me now. So I will say thanks and hope that you had a good time watching this video. Thanks and see you. Bye.